Welcome to Epiphany Jack Gaming, where today we're diving into this Warhammer deck, specifically Necron Dynasties. So this is something that's really unique because this is the first time that all the commander decks has one common theme: Warhammer. And if you're super interested, we're going to break down the deck and our reviews of the deck, and maybe give you a little bit of a tip if you're playing the deck. With that said, let's jump over to Moxfield. Alright, we're over at our friends over at Moxfield.com. We're going to go over the review deck of this bad boy. So starting off, the commander of this deck. Out of the box, it's Sorceries, the Silent King. Costs 3 black and 1. So it costs 5 mana altogether. It's a legendary artifact creature. It's a Necron. So it's a commander. Big shocker there. We are playing commander. It's a commander precon. It's a 3/4 body, flying, which is nice. My will be done. Whenever it attacks, mill 3 cards. You may put an artifact creature card or vehicle card from among those cards milled this way into your hand. Then we're going to jump over to the... Well, we'll save the creature for last because I have a nice little spicy tip that's going to be coming after we cover that. So we'll jump over to Sorceries, where you have Beacon Unrest. Costs 2 black and 3. It's a sorcery. Put a target artifact or creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Then we get to shuffle it right back, or shuffle Beacon of Unrest into our deck. Dread Return. Costs 2 black and 2. As a sorcery, return a target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then we have a flashback house of sacking 3 creatures. Live in Death costs 2 and 3, or costs 2 black and 3. It's a sorcery where each player exiles all creature cards from your graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures they control, and then puts them into their, or put all cards exiled this way onto the battlefield. So that takes your, what you have on board, flip-flops it with what you have in your graveyard. And then what you had on the board becomes into your graveyard. Pretty nifty. Mutilate costs 2 black and 2, where all creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. So this is going to be a heavy basic swamp land or deck. And it's also, if you haven't noticed, a reanimator deck. So it's a mono black reanimate. And then the next sorcery is Their Name is Death. It costs 3 black and 3. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. And the final sorcery in the deck is Their Number is Legion. We get to, or it costs X and 4 black. That's right, 4 black. Create an X tapped 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature tokens. And then you gain that life equal to the number of artifacts you control. And then we exile it. You may cast their number is Legion from your graveyard. So if we have it in the graveyard, we can end up casting it from the graveyard, and then we exile. So it's not one like when you play it, then it's exiled, then it's gone, because obviously it's not going to go in the graveyard. But if you end up milling it, you can still end up playing it. Going from the sorceries, let's react instant speed to this. And this is one of my favorite cards. It's kind of a little bit more spice than I was expecting with it. Darkness. Costs 1 black. It's an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. That's right. It's the black version of Fog. Then we have Defile. That costs 1 black. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. Good old Go for the Throat. It costs 1 black and 1 for an instant. Destroy a target non-artifact creature. Now, I said this is a reanimator deck. This is mainly artifact reminds. So we reanimate artifacts in mind with this. So that's why, if you look at the ratio that we have 29 creatures, but we also have 21 artifacts. It's actually more because some of the artifacts that we have are also artifact creatures. So, and that's why it has that stuff more in mind. That's what this was designed behind. So we'll start off with Arcane Signet. Costs us 2. Add 1 mana of any color of your commander's identity. Caged Sun, which is a nice notable reprint. Costs us 6. It's an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Secret tech. We want to choose black. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +X/+X whenever a land ability causes you to add 1 mana or more this of the chosen color, add an additional mana of that color. So some good old rampage. Commander Sphere costs us 3 for an artifact that has tap, add 1 mana of any color of your color or commander's identity. Sacrifice it and we get to draw a card. Convergence of Dominion costs us 3 and it has this dynastic command node. As long as you control your commander, activate the abilities of cards in your graveyard cost 2 less. This effect can't reduce the mana in abilities activation to less than 1 mana. And then the transformation protocols cost us 3. Tap it, mill 3 cards. Cranioplating costs us 2. And an equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. So with this having a whole lot of artifacts, that's where this is going to play a role into it. Just look at the number of artifacts. So let's say we have half of those on there. So we have 10 artifacts out there. Your creature will be getting +10/+0. Still a nice little beat. Especially if you end up having this guy as your little commander, because then he's a flying. Get back to my spot. And then we go to... And then it costs us 2 black to attach Cranioplating to our target creature. Which that can be done at instant speed, but the equip cost, it costs us 1, which has to be done at sorcery speed. Endless Atlas costs us 2. It's an artifact. Costs us 2. Tap it. Draw a card. Activate this only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. So this is a nice play off with the swamps that we end up having. This card in the game and everything helped me out drawing a little bit more answers and everything. Because you're going to get to 3 swamps pretty easily in this deck. Ghost Arc costs us 4 for a vehicle that has flying. Repair Bandit or Bargaining. Whenever it becomes crewed, each artifact creature in your graveyard gains Unearth 3 until end of turn. It has crew 2, so that means your creature has to have power of toughness of 2. Or power of 2. Power of 2. It's a 3/3 body. Gilded Lotus costs us 5, and you can tap it at 3 of any 1 mana. Hedron Archive costs us 4. You can tap it at 2 colorless, pay 2, tap it, sacrifice it, and draw 2 cards. Mask of Memory costs us 2. And then whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a card. Equip costs is 1. Mindstone costs 2. And then you can end up tapping it for 1 colorless. Or pay 1 colorless and tap it, sacrifice it, and draw a card. Mystic Forge. That's right. This looks a little bit better than the little pizza oven style that they end up having. It's the regular art. Costs 4. And then you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of your library. Tap, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. Lets you end up filtering right down to the cards that you want. Necron Monolith costs 7. It's a vehicle, flying, indestructible. Eternity's Gate. Whenever it attacks, mill 3 cards. For each creature card milled this way, create a 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature token. Crew of 4. So it has a power of 4, has to be able to crew this. But it's a 7/7. Flying indestructible. Pretty nice. Necron Scythe costs 3. For a vehicle that's a 3/1. And then it has flying. And then it has invasion beams. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature. Has crew 2, so that's a power of 2 to be able to equip it. Or crew it, I should be saying. Resurrection Orb costs 2. An equipped creature has lifelink. Whenever an equipped creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. An equip cost of 4. Scepter of Eternal Glory costs 4 for legendary artifact. We have to tap, add 1 mana of any color. Tap, add 3 mana of one color. Activate this only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. And then we have Sculpting Steel that costs 3. It's an artifact. You may have Sculpting Steel enter the battlefield as a copy of one artifact that's on the battlefield. So this is more like a versatile tool that we can end up copying anything that we want to that's an artifact or artifact creature. Soul Ring. It's a precon, so normally they end up having Soul Ring. It costs 1 and it taps for 2 colorless. Thought Vessel costs 2. You have no maximum hand size and you can tap, add 1 colorless. Unstable Obelisk costs 3. It's an artifact. Tap, add 1 colorless, or you can pay 7, tap it, sacrifice it, and destroy a target permanent. That's right, target permanent. So that's anything. Planeswalkers, even lands. It's a little expensive cost, but hey, take it when you got it. Waitful Bauble costs 1, and we can pay 2, sacrifice it, and we look for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And then it has 3 enchantments that's in the deck. Has Biotransference. It costs 2 and 2 black. Creatures you control are artifacts and additional to their other types. The same is true for creature spells that you control and creature cards that aren't on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you lose 1 life and you create a 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature. So if you picked up on this, this has a nice little combo with the entire Mystic Forge, because everything has to be an artifact to be able to play it. Well, this guy makes them into artifacts. So you have that combo out there, you'll be able to play off the top of your library. Create your own Boros Citadel. And then Out of the Tombs costs 2 and a black. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 Eon counters on Out of the Tombs. Then mill cards equal to the number of counters on it. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you can't, lose the game. So, this is kind of like another mill shenanigans. You see that with Laboratory Maniac and stuff like that, where you're wanting to work your way to it. This is a good, oops, I made a mistake, but yet you'll get to reanimate a creature with the library. However, you get to keep on doing that until someone exiles your library, which makes you big sads. And then we have a saga, The War in Heaven. Costs 3 and 3 black. And with any kind of typical saga, we start off at the first one. You draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. Okay. Mill 3 cards. That's okay for this deck. That's what we can end up reanimating it. Choose up to 3 target creature cards with a total mana value of 8 or less in your graveyard. Return each of them onto the battlefield with a Necrodermis counter on it. They are artifacts in addition to their other types. Reanimate, so it covers all the bases. We get to draw cards. We're milling, so we're getting a little theme, trying to get a little bit bigger. And then we reanimate that entire big thing that we wanted to do. So we're going to jump over to the lands now. We got Barren Moor, which enters the battlefield, tap, add a black, or you can pay a black and discard it to called Cycling and draw a card. Similar is the Desert of the Glorified. Enters the battlefield, tap, add a black. Cycling of a 1 and a black. So we discard that, we'll draw a card. Mirrored Landscape, enters the battlefield, tap, add a colorless, or it can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice it, and look for 2 basic land types. Or 2 basic lands of the same type. That's got to be an easy choice, since we only have black. Polluted Mire, enters the battlefield, tap, add a black, or you can pay 2 to cycle it. Or it has a cycle and a cost of 2. And Relic Worry Tower. You have no maximum hand size. Costs or taps, adds 1 colorless. Next one we're going down to is the Tomb of the Fortress. Enters the battlefield, tap, add a black, pay 2, and 3 black. Exile it, and we get to mill 4 cards and then return a creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this only as a sorcery. Pretty solid reanimate style. And then Vault of the Whispers. It's an artifact land that taps for a black. And then we have 30 basic swaps. Yes, this is a basic, or this has a lot of basics in it, but I'm completely fine with it because you got stuff that plays off the basics. Plus, this was the little factor that would come over with it. But finally, but not least, is we're going to jump over to the creatures. We already covered the Silent King, so let's go over to another potential commander. Eknar the Traveler. Costs 4 and a black. It's a 4/4 and Lord of the Pyrone Legions. Whenever it attacks, you may cast an artifact spell from your hand or from your graveyard by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. That's a pretty solid little ability. Copperneck Scab is Canaptic Scab Swarm costs 4 for an insect. That's a 1/1, so it's an artifact creature that's a 1/1. Flying, and then it has Feeder Mandibles. When it enters the battlefield, exile a target player's graveyard. For each artifact or land card exiled this way, create a 1/1 cardless insect artifact creature token with flying. Canoptic Spider costs 5 for another artifact creature that's a spider. It's a 4/4 flying. That's weird. A spider with flying. Interesting. Well, it is Warhammer, so. I digress. We're going over Fabricate's Claw Array. Whenever another non-token artifact creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Pretty solid. We like drawing cards. Canaptic Tomb Sentinel costs 4 for an artifact creature that's an insect that is a 4/3 body. Vigilance, that means it doesn't tap when it attacks. Exile the cannon. When it enters the battlefield from a graveyard, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. Has an unearthed cost of 5 or 7. So we can end up paying 7 and bringing it back from the graveyard, but after the end of our turn, we have to exile it. Canaptic Wraith costs 3 and has a power toughness of a 2/1. Artifact creature Wraith. Wraith form is it can't be blocked. And then it has Transmitral Scout. Is when it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 3. Sacrifice it. If you do, you may search your library for up to 2 basic land cards with the same name as a land you control. Put them on the battlefield tapped and shuffle. Chronomancer costs 1 and a black for a Necron Wizard. It's an artifact creature. It's a 1/1. Flying. And then an Atomic Translation. It costs 1. Tap it. Sacrifice another artifact. Draw a card. Has an unearthed cost of 2 and a black. Kreptek costs 3 and a black. Artifact creature wizard Necron. It's a 3/3. Pay 1 and a black. Tap it. Choose another target artifact creature you control. And when that creature dies this turn, return it to the battlefield tapped under your control. Interesting. Cryptothal costs 4 for artifact creature construct. It's a 3/3 set protector. All artifact creatures you control have hexproof. Nice! Nice way of protecting those guys. Frere 1 costs 2 and a black for artifact creatures as a Necron. It's a 4/1 lifelink. And then when it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. Hexmark Destroyer costs 4 and 2 black. Ooh, look at that cost, but it's going to be worth it. Watch. Artifact creature Necron. It's a 6/6 multi-threat eliminator. Here we go. It can be only blocked by 6 or more creatures. So they have to have 6 or more creatures to be able to block this bad boy. Oh. It can end up being devastating. It has an unearth of 4 and 2 black. So it has an unearth cost of the same as the mana value. Emulator Scizar costs 2 and a black for a legendary creature Necron. So that means it could be a commander. It has the Secret of the Souls. Sacrifice another creature, add mana or black equal to the sacrificed creature's mana value. So not too bad. That wouldn't be a bad commander either. Eptek the Stormlord costs 2 and 2 black for a legendary artifact creature. So that means it could be another commander. It's a Necron. It's a 3/3. And it has Parun. Is whenever one or more artifact creatures leave your graveyard, create 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creatures. And then it has Grand Strategist. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, another target artifact creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains menace until the end of the turn, or Minache. Menace is when they have to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So this is going to be the hot tip. I ended up, well, we'll wait a little bit later before I end up breaking it down because I've got a few more creatures to cover. Uncussed Heavy Destroyer costs 1 and 3 black for an artifact creature Necron. It's a 3/2 flying. And then it has an Aramic Eliminator. And then when it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. It has an unearthed cost of 5 and 3 black. Lunch Guard costs 2 and a black for a Necron. Guard Protocols costs 3 and a black. Sacrifice it and return all all legendary creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. It's a 2/3 body. Necron Deathmark costs 3 and 2 black for an artifact creature that's a Necron. It's a 5/3 flash. And then when it enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target creature card and target player mills 3 cards. It's a very nice, and that's a very good kill spell. And plus it lets us end up milling, which is what we want to do with the deck. Necron Overlord costs 2 and 2 black for an artifact creature, or Necron Noble. It's a 2/5 body, has Relentless March. Pay X, tap it, tap X amount of untapped artifacts you control. Target opponent loses X amount of life. It's a 2/5 body. Plasma Manager costs 2 and 2 black for Necron Wizard. That's an artifact creature. It's a 3/3. You notice we have a lot of the artifact theme in here. Flying. And then it has Dynastic Advisor. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic swamp. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then Psychomancer costs 1 and a black for artifact creature Necron Wizard. It's a 1/1 flying. And then it's Harbinger of Despair. Whenever it or another non-token artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield or is put into exile from the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then we have the Royal Warden. Costs 3 and 2 black. That's a 3/2 body. And then it also has Pharnax Commander. Is when it enters the battlefield, create 2 tapped 2/2 black Necron Warrior artifact creature tokens. Unearthed cost of 1 black and 3. Septic Immortal costs 2 and a black. It's an artifact creature is a 2/2 flash, and then it has elite troops. It enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counters on it for each creature that died this turn. I had a huge one of these a couple times. Shard of the Nightbringer costs 5 and 3 black for a Scythe. So I guess these are like their gods. It's a flying, and then drain life. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, target opponent loses half their life rounded up. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. It's an 8/8. And then the Shard of the Void Dragon costs 4 and 3 black. Flying, and then also there is also a 7/7. So a 7/7 that costs 7 that has flying. The Spear of the Void Dragon is whenever Shard of the Void Dragon attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. Master Absorption, whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield or is put into exile from the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Shard of the Void Dragon. Whew. And then we have Septic Destroyer, costs 2 and 2 black for 4/2 with Death Touch. And then it also has this Epic Thrashers. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gains first strike until end of turn. With that first strike Death Touch always ends up winning. Unless they have Invincible or Indestructible. Septic Lord costs 2 and a black. It's a 3/2 with Menace, which that means it can't be blocked by 2 or by like a 1/1 or anything like that. It has to have 2 or more creatures blocking it. Has command protocols. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+0 and have Menace, which is awesome. And has an unearthed cost of 2 and a black. So it also allows for like a big alpha strike going on, giving all your creatures Menace when you end up bringing it before you end up having to sacrifice it. And then you have a Tacromancer that costs 5 and 2 black for 5/1, and when it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards, and then return any number of artifact creature cards with a total value of 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. A little good old Reanimator. Tomb Blade costs 4 and 2 black for 5/4 flying, and then whenever it deals combat damage, that player loses life equal to the number of creatures they control unless they sacrifice a creature. It has an unearthed cost of 6 and 2 black. Tezzin the Infinite costs 4 and 2 black. Legendary creature, so another possible commander. Death Touch is a 4/6 body, and it has Prismatic Gallery. As long as it's on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all artifact cards in your graveyard. Trinac Predation costs 1 and a black for a 2/1 flying. Dynastic Codes is when it enters the battlefield from the graveyard, you may draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Has an unearthed cost of 1 black and 4. And then Trinoc Stalker costs 3 and 2 black for 4/5. Targeting Relay. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent. Creatures attacking the last chosen player have Menace. And then something unique is these insects in the warriors. So another unique thing about this entire thing is that all the cards in these end up having new art that comes out of it. It's super hardcore into the theme. And like if you notice, Mindstone doesn't look like that. Cage Sun doesn't. And Arcane Signet, they're all diversed over into the theme of the deck themselves. So like this is Necron, so they went pretty hardcore into the Necrons with it. I'll tell you how far they ended up going. It goes all the way over to like your basic swamps normally have the art with it, which I don't know why that doesn't have the art. Let's see if we could end up switching the printing here. Okay, so it has a bunch of different arts that comes over with it. Well, that's Brothers War. Ooh, that's already in the future. So the Necrons normally have this, or this, is what they normally end up having in their little precons for it. We'll just toss this for it. But my little hot tip for you is if you're just learning how to play Magic or anything, this is a good starter for your commander. This is another good possibility, but I ended up going with this guy as my commander. Matter of fact, I'm going to take the time right now and switch it over and set it as my commander. So here's the main reason why I say that I like this as a commander and everything. Because as you're playing cards, it's kind of nice to get a little bit of value. Yes, it doesn't have flying like the other one does. But what the big thing is that you get +2/+2, and a target creature ends up getting Menace. Menace is kind of a little hidden gem that ends up working out pretty good because sometimes people just have one creature or no creatures or anything like that, and giving a little bonus to any of your other creatures kind of helps out to get over through it. It's taking this little simple 2/1 right here, making it a 4/3, but then it can't be blocked. Where people will be like, haha, well, I guess that can't already be blocked. That was a bad example. But they're taking a little creature and be able to sneak their way through and be able to end up having this stuff to trigger. Also, the big thing I also liked, it was this Endless Atlas. It was a hidden nice little value. Every game that I ended up playing it helped out because it lets you end up drawing cards, and that's where the benefit of being a monocolored deck is going to be playing into it. And the big thing is, right out of the box, these decks seem more powerful than the average precons and everything. I was seeing that other people were using the other precons that they were playing, and they were playing against one another, and it seems like it has a little bit more extra oomph to it, which is kind of nice and everything. The main reason why I wanted to pick it up, because I felt like it would be a nice little deck, and also it gives me an opportunity to finally play Warhammer without having to buy all the miniatures and everything. So all my friends that do have Warhammer, I can say, haha, I played Warhammer, even though it's just a theme. Did you guys pick up any of these decks? Let us know in the comments down below. And if so, what do you like about it? Is it a product that you would suggest picking it up? I would. I would suggest go ahead and pick it up and be able to play around with it. Out of the box, it's a solid deck. It has solid themes and everything that you're looking for with it. So Warhammer goes over with it. I know nothing about Warhammer. I heard that these guys were like creatures back in the day, and guys changed them over to being what they are now, or something like that. But also, with Warhammer, or with these decks, I'm planning on keeping this just as is, because the theme is so strong and everything. I love how the theme is, and I love how the deck is all together with itself. And it's not just like one of those precons where it's like diverts to... It has 3 different paths or a couple different paths. This has one basic path where you're going to end up playing stuff, having it reanimate and stuff like that. So I don't feel bad about the idea of that. I would strongly suggest picking it up if you're looking for a nice solid commander deck right out of the box. And if you do that, stop over at your LGS and help them out, because that's where you end up playing. So you must as well put your money right into the store that you go with. However, don't overpay for these decks. I see that there's a bunch of places online and stuff like that that's making them more. And as an alternative, they also do have a super fancy one where it's all foiled out. And you'll be able to pick it up at all foiled. It's called the little Surge version. And that will end up being able to be all foiled, but it has that premium cost. So if you're liking the content that we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified about any of our future content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.